Welcome to Red Zone DFS Week 6. I'm back from the bye week. I'm ready. Yes, I had my bye week early last week, just like the rest of the NFL teams.
How was your darkness retreat?
Yeah. Dude, it's not great. There's no TV. It's just meetings for like 12 hours straight, and then they feed you health food. It's not great. It's not great.
Sounds like you missed a lot.
Whatever, guy blow.
How'd your week turned up last week? How'd that lineup finish out? Yeah, you were hot to trot.
So So the lineup was great. The problem was Tucker Kraft. I didn't have Kraft, and that's what negated essentially the entire thing, since he was like 35% owned and just absolutely nuked. I had all my guys go off, but just not having Kraft. I mean, I still got pretty high up in the money, but I mean, I was on track to really have a chance to take this thing down, but then Kraft just started nuking. So that's what ended up killing it. You know, just one chalk play that I didn't have in that particular lineup. But no, I mean, all year I've been right on it all year. I know you guys have been taking him down, but I've been getting close quite a bit.
Yeah,
my one regret last week was going through all of the data and finding out where stuff was and coming on to Darius Slayton and just not playing more of him, because he literally just stepped right into the neighbor's role and just got fucking all the deep targets, fucking everything. And thank you very much to the Giants for winning that game. That was from a Niners fan. That was very nice.
I feel like Slayton always does this. They're just like, no, we're gonna pin him as like the fourth receiver. People get hurt, he slots into one, goes off. Like he does this every single year, and it's like, when are you just guys gonna start this guy? He's good.
I had a ton of
they just refused to do it.
I had a ton of good plays and lineups that were looking really solid, and there's nothing more frustrating than being like really overweight on someone like Kenneth Walker, who doesn't just bust, but they just don't use him.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you come out of that game from the previous Monday night and give him 7 carries? Like,
or what about Cortland Sutton? Cortland Sutton, the Broncos score 34 fucking points, and the guy had like 3.
Yeah, pretty frustrating.
It was a good week though. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, my best lineups, I just went Cincinnati. You know, my stacks with Burrow, Chase, and Higgins all in the same lineup. I mean, those three put together, look at this, 38, 44, and 29 between the three of them. They got about 110 points just between the three of them. So all my lineups that did well, it had all three of them in it. Again, if I just had a Tucker Kraft in one of those, I'm winning.
You're in business. Well, we got another fun slate with that same old fun Ravens defense on the board here, and a pretty wild matchup it appears. So why don't you take us away up top at quarterback? Where are you looking? Obviously, the two main talking points are in the same game this week. So
I've actually got a little bit of different lean at quarterback up top.
All right,
I'm going with Dak. It's not a cheap stack with him and CD. But Detroit's run defense is fantastic. Their pass defense is absolutely not. And I'm going to have a shitload of that. Like, not saying that Lamar and those other guys are not good plays, but like for $1,100 less, when there's not a whole lot of value on the slate this week, getting to Dak at $6,700, I think is just like a wild steal. So, I mean, and it's just so easy. Like, you can triple stack if you want with like Turpin or Tolbert, but I don't even think you need to do that. You just play him and CD and then go on your merry way. I mean, it's just such an easy thing to get to that, like, I just don't know why more people, aren't doing it. When I opened up the ownership, I expected to see Dak in the like 15 to like 18% range, but he's 9%.
I think just how expensive.
My curiosity.
Go ahead, Joe.
Sorry, my curiosity. What is Lamar and Jaden's ownership coming in at right now?
So they're those two and Justin Fields are tied for the highest ownership so far this week. They're all at 13%. All three of them right now.
Yeah, and I like other quarterbacks. I want to like go down this week. I'm gonna have stacks that have obviously Lamar.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And
Jaden Lamar is 13%. Jaden is 5%.
Oh,
okay. Well, that's good for me because just to go on that point, my only fear is like Lamb has just not been the like horse receiver that like he has been in the last couple of years. Like we obviously know he's got 40-point upside. Like he's shown it multiple times, even last year, but it just hasn't quite clicked yet this year. And it's just so much to pay for a guy that like, yeah, you're paying for it, right? But he's probably not going to be super highly owned. And if he goes for 40, 45 points, like you're way different in the head of the field, that stack. So I don't mind that at all.
The Cowboys, like Jim, like what you were saying with Dak is I'm not saying ride him solo like in every lineup, but they don't have a run game in Dallas. They cannot run the ball. So what they're doing is they're essentially using the old school West Coast offense as their run game. And Dak doesn't really have an interest of just peppering Lamb downfield. He's spreading the ball around and taking these 5-yard plays, and everyone's getting love. And that's why CD is not going off. He's getting irritated. And the reality is they do not have a run game, and they have to rely on the short passing game as the run game right now. So I don't mind playing Dak naked. Like I see Dak going off and him just spreading it around. I just don't know what receiver is going to nuke, or if any receiver is going to nuke for him.
Well, but the thing is there's just not a lot of guys, right? They've got CD, and then they've got Tolbert, who I like Tolbert. I think he's an interesting play too. But then they've got Turpin, who only played 12 snaps. But check this out. On 12 snaps, he got 5 targets. So, like, when he's on the field, it's for a specific reason. And I think that game can shoot out a little bit because Detroit's defense, pass defense specifically, just isn't very good.
I think it's a good play just from the fact that if CD is going to be like 5% owned, like you just got to take some shots because he is one of the few guys that does have that 40-point upside on the slate.
Sure.
But it's probably not like my core. I mean, I'm definitely just going to keep playing Jaden Daniels at this point. Like,
I mean, you kind of have to, right?
I know everyone's
especially
like, oh, when's he going to come crashing down and all these things. One, Baltimore's pass defense has gotten absolutely destroyed this season. So right there, like they don't scare me at all. And this kid's just special. Like it's now a big enough sample size that this is what, people were waiting for CJ Stroud to come down last year and he just didn't. Like this kid, no one's got the answer for.
And the days when he's not passing and putting up passing stats, he's running.
Yeah.
So,
he can run. He's definitely started to find his feel with, Scary Terry. So I love just that easy 1-2 combo. There's a few options on the Ravens. You can bring it back if you want, but
the one thing Jaden has is he's got a insane deep ball. We all knew that with him coming out of LSU, and he's starting to feel that in the league where he's hitting guys deep. And where does Scary Terry do very well? He catches the deep ball.
He's going to take guaranteed 2 to 4 shots like that a game, right? Kind of like this, what the Saints do with Shaheed, right? Like every game, they're just going to like rip 2 or 3 deep and hope that they hit on one. And you only really need to hit one of those for it to really pay off for him, right? So, I definitely like the Jaden play quite a bit, Ben. Joe, who's your guy?
I like this whole game, but Jordan Love. Like his floor has been 17 points, right? His floor is a little over 2x. Now, obviously, you're not hoping for 17 points from him, but that's the floor, and you're going to get a lot of upside. And you just got to like throw out some different combinations because you don't really know which receiver is going to nuke for them. Hopefully, Christian Watson's out again this week, right? So it consolidates that passing game down a little bit to our guys like Reed and Dobbs. But Jordan Love against this Cardinals defense, which I think is very suspect. Even this Niners offense last week, that is an absolute shambles, still actually like did well against them. They just had turnovers. So I think the Packers absolutely destroy Arizona. And I think Jordan Love has a potential 3+ touchdown game this week. Easy.
All right. I like that.
I like him too this week. Where are we going down here?
Oh, and Benny's gone. Okay.
And
well, we're going to keep the show going.
So we're going to the mid-range here, I guess. I mean,
this is my favorite range, by the way. Like you said, Jim, you had Dak. I like Jordan Love, and I still like 2 more guys in this range. So you go ahead and go next.
So, I mean, I like it's just got to be Kirk Cousins, right? Like I don't see how you start. Like I don't love that it's outside because they seem to just kind of put up a lot of points when they're indoors. But like everyone thinks that they're going to roll Carolina. The Falcons play to the strength of the team that they're playing. So like they are not going to blow anybody out. It's part of the reason why I want to bet Carolina in Circa this week because 6.5 points, way too many for Atlanta
at home.
Atlanta's not blowing anybody out. I mean, I just don't care. And they're absolute, like, they just don't give a flying fuck about running the ball, right? I don't know if Bijan's hurt, but, like, they don't give him enough touches. Algier, he's like a 6th-round pick. Like, okay, like, he is what he is. He's like the Jordan Mason of Atlanta, right? Like, he's a fine running back. He's never going to do anything crazy. He's not going to rip off any big runs. And Kirk has a pretty easily consolidated offense where, I guess it's just me now.
No, you're good. Putting the focus on you.
So, like, yeah, I mean, it's just an easy stack. And everyone's going back to Richardson, which is weird. People want to play Justin Fields, which is like, okay, like, I get it. But I would rather just play Kirk Cousins. I think that's a much better upside play. And Kirk's a guy that has legitimate 30-point upside, right? And it, 5% owned. Okay, that's fine.
My only thing is, like you said, Jim, I feel like this game is going to be a lot more, it's going to be tighter than we think. And I'm not saying that's going to be a high-scoring game. I do feel like Carolina gets some turnovers. It's going to be a very, like, sludgy. And I'm a little bit worried this game just doesn't get the points that we're looking for.
Oh, I think he gets the points.
I mean, it's got to go one. I feel like it's going to go one way or the other. it's got to explode or nothing.
It's got a 48 total, right? Which is, let's see, it's the 4th highest total on the slate. So, like, not everyone's going to be just like flocking to that game. I really like the whole game itself. I like the run back options on the other side for Carolina. Happy to just go to Chuba Hubbard and then to Deontay Johnson because he screwed everybody last week. So the whole game I like, but I like playing Kirk as the quarterback with that stack.
All right. I'm in. I'm going to have to play some Kirk. Vinny, who's your mid-range guy in here?
I'm going to Baker. I like Baker quite a bit here. I know everyone's going to look and see this, like, if you look on DraftKings, like the Saints, have this like really tough defense, and they do have a good defense, but it's not in the secondary.
Nope.
It's the front 7. I know they've got Tyrann Mathieu, but
they're getting old, man.
But the front 7 for the Saints is what's their strength, right? And the Tampa Bay rushing attack is already just kind of a mess. Like both Bucky Irving looks a little bit better, but like nobody's really looks amazing. I think this is a team, this is a game like rival teams, like they both know each other really well. I could see this thing getting up and going. The only struggle, and I'll get to him later, but is the other side of the ball is can they keep this thing close? But you just look at Tampa, like it's very clear they're just going to lean on Baker in this passing game. Godwin, Evans, like I like double stacking this thing up and just hoping that Tampa just blows up here.
Well, and I always have a theory about this, right? So I like Baker this week. The Saints just played against a really tough Chiefs team. Anytime you play a tough game on a short week, coming off of that is not easy, right? Mm-hmm. So they played a tough game. They're going off a short week, while Tampa is coming off of a bye. And the narrative, Tampa is getting fucking rocked by a hurricane right now. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to come out and show out. Just the narrative of that, I like it.
Games in a dome.
Baker's been playing exceptional this season. Yeah. Like he is, as of right now, I know it's only a couple weeks in, but he's already in the MVP race right now. Baker is going absolutely berserk. He is too cheap. He's got the best stacking options with Evans and Godwin. You can even throw some Otten in there and do some weird things. I think Baker is my clear-cut top 2 guy with him and Love. I think I'm going to pepper as much Baker and Love as possible this week.
I like it.
All right.
Where are we going down low? And the 5s or below?
Are we playing the Ghost Pepper?
I don't know who that is.
The Ghost Pepper?
Spencer Rattler.
Oh, I am 100%.
I mean, at $4,000,
you have to.
I'm 100%. Did you also hear what he said? Two things came out today. One, they looked at like the average like separation per route per receiver, and Chris Olave is like by far and away the number one, like pretty much in the league. Like the guy's just been open, but Carr just won't throw him the football. And Spencer Rattler in his thing today, his press conference, basically came out and was like, "Oh, how do you be successful? You throw the ball to Chris Olave." And I'm like, "That's all I needed to hear."
All right, that works for me.
And look,
so this kid could throw like 3 picks, but he's got the arm. Like this kid's super talented. So I don't know how he's going to do, but he's going to throw it. Like I have no doubt about that.
Well, yeah, he's one of those older quarterbacks and one of those older college players that came out kind of like Jaden Daniels, right? Like he was in college forever. He, played in the SEC his last few years. So like he's played against some good defense, right? And like he knows, I think he's kind of settled in. He was that phenom coming out of high school into college, transferred a few times. We've seen these quarterbacks that have been around a while, like Jaden Daniels, like Bo Nix, who's done pretty well this year, right? Who's in college forever, the Van Wilder generation with the extra COVID year that all these guys got, right? But like, yeah, I mean, I think that, especially if he's only going to be like 3% owned, you got to put him in a couple of lineups, right?
He's got all the talent in the world. Tampa's got a very clear, we've talked about for multiple years now, a very clear pass funnel defense. Like this, it's right there for him. So I like going Rattler. And then I'm going Kamara, and I'm stacking him up with one of the two receivers. So that's where I'm playing him.
I had a weird build earlier where I just went Rattler and I went Taysom Hill. I just went those two.
Wow. And he hasn't practiced. Taysom Hill still hasn't practiced this week. So.
I know, but if he
Thank
plays,
goodness. All right. That good for quarterbacks, receiver, or running backs?
I just want to make a comment, and I know no one's going to play him. He's going to be 0.10% owned, and it's probably going to be me, the only one that owns him. It's Deshaun Watson. I know he is absolute dog shit, guys, but he's averaging 14 fantasy points a game, even with him being absolute dog shit, and he's only 5,100. So the Eagles defense doesn't impress me by any means. They're going to be playing from behind. There's a chance Deshaun throws the ball like 45 plus times this week. Again, this is a pure fantasy play. That's it. And just the price just makes sense.
I'll do it. I'll play
optimal leverage against the field, man.
You sick human, but I like it.
Potentially Amari Cooper's last game with the Browns. I mean, oh yeah. Send it, baby.
All right. I like it.
What about up top at running back this week? Some interesting. I mean, pricing's tough. So, depending if you want to get some of these like higher end stacks, like is there anybody up top that you're really like putting a stake in the ground for? Like, I have to get this guy in my lineups.
I mean, I don't see how you go away from Kamara. The only problem is his price tag and how little rushing work he's going to get, right? And just the unknown with the ghost.
Yeah, we don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you got to go to Saquon quite a bit. I would rather pay the extra $600 or $500 from Kamara to go up to Saquon coming off a bye versus not a very good Cleveland defense at home. I don't know what the status of I think both wide receivers are going to play.
That's my only fear is like they galaxy brain this and Saquon gets like 12 touches.
If you go back to, they haven't done that all year.
They did it last week. He had before the bye week. Remember when we were like all on him and he had 10 touches versus Tampa? And we were like, what are they doing?
That's even more of a reason just to go right back to him because people are going to look at that and be like, man, like they don't know what they're doing. Blah 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 blah. Like I don't care. I'm just going to play him.
All right.
He's gotten his floor week was the last week before the bye. Other than that, he's gone 36, 17, and 36.
No, he looks great. It's more Sirianni and the staff that I just don't trust at all. So if he's going to be like 20+% owned, I'm off. If he's going to be low owned, I'll definitely have.
He's like 15% right now. That's fine.
But you also need to get him like in your Rattler lineups. You got to have like a Saquon in there. Right, you pay up at running back because you have a 4K quarterback.
Right.
You got to pay up it anyways. But if I'm going up high, I really like Jahmyr Gibbs this week.
Dude, that's my guy. I like it.
Yeah, man. He's averaging about 18 points a game right now. I've been saying this for weeks. The Dallas Cowboys defense is fucking awful. They are really, really bad. And Detroit, they're going to give their running backs the ball. The only thing that sucks is obviously Montgomery snaking some touchdowns here and there or whatever, right? Which that sucks. And like, look, I'm going to have lineups with Gibbs. I'm going to have lineups with Montgomery. And look, I might even have one where I double barrel it, right? But Jahmyr Gibbs, if I'm going up high, this dude is just electric. And there's going to be a game that he just explodes. And this could absolutely be it.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, I think this game, to Jim's point, he likes the Dallas side. Like, I think if that happens, like, you're going to see Gibbs. And Gibbs, unlike Montgomery, where he's got the touchdown equity, Gibbs has the ability to take some, like, 60 yards, right? Yeah. So he pops one of those things against Dallas, like, it's on. So
yeah, and look, Gibbs' first 2 weeks, he had 11 catches. The last 2 weeks, he hasn't had any catches, right? And it's like, okay, if he's getting catches, like, sign me up. Gibbs is going to go off. If he gets 4 or 5 catches in this game plus his carries, he's going to get you that 25-point plus.
Okay. I mean, mid-range, is there anyone you love? I mean, I
absolutely love Ramondre. And I played him a bunch last week. Didn't give 2 shits about he's not starting. Cool. So he doesn't play the fucking first 2 snaps and then goes in. Like, this is all they have. Now they're starting Drake May this week. They're going to pack to try and protect their brand new rookie quarterback? They're just going to try and run the shit out of the ball, right? That's the only path that they have. They're at home. They're going to do the same thing that they did last week. So they're just going to pound the fucking running backs. Antonio Gibson is not a very good running back, and Ramondre is. So, I mean, Ramondre right now, 2% owned.
Wow.
Like what are we doing here? So, like, everyone's playing J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, I'm playing some Dobbins, and I'll tell you why.
At 19% owned? No, thank you. I will play Ramondre for $100 less at 2% owned.
The reason I'm playing J.K. Dobbins is we've seen this a million times before. They're off a bye. Jim Harbaugh is going on the road, divisional game. He is going to hammer J.K. Dobbins in this one. Like, he's going to play it safe. They should be hopefully getting their tackles back. I didn't really see the injury report today on those guys. But if those tackles are out, that will definitely get me off of him more. But, again, this guy's seeing 15 touches a game. He's involved in the passing game. Like, Harbaugh's going to play this one. Like, dude, we're playing a rookie quarterback. Just don't make mistakes and pound the rock, and we win this game. Like, that's what Jim Harbaugh's going to do in this game.
My biggest concern with this game is both teams want to do the same thing, and they're just going to run the ball. The total number of plays that are going to be available to be had in this game are just not very much.
No, I get it. But if he's going – I mean, I don't need 40 carries. Like, he's going to get his 15 to 20 touches, and that's all I'm looking for out of him there. So
at 20%, I'll have none of them.
Yeah, I hear you.
Before we go down too low, I want to mention James Conner, right? I love this Packers side of it. Run back James Conner on the other side. Guys, in 5 weeks, he has 91 touches in 5 weeks. And he's playing well, right? Like, look, the Arizona's realized at this point, if they can't run the ball, they're going to get smoked. If they can run the ball, they stay in games. And
that's how they got back in the game last week with the Niners. Yep. They came out in the second half and just started hammering at Conner, and it opened everything up.
Yep. And Gannon's going to pound Conner. That is inevitable. That's what's going to happen. So James Conner is one of my favorite plays, especially when I do my Packer stacks.
I like that. Anyone else down here? I mean, I have a little interest in Tony Pollard.
I have a lot of interest in Tony Pollard. And
Uber chalk.
Dude,
Uber chalk.
But again, I don't think it's bad chalk. Like, he's in a 30 spot.
30%.
I don't think he's going to end up at 30%.
He's in a great spot.
He's at 29 right now.
Jim, he's in he's playing a horrible Colts defense at home. We just saw him get 22 carries in that, like, horrific Monday night game. Like, he's fresh. I don't think this is a bad spot for him.
I was looking at the stats through 4 games. The Titans, Calvin Ridley has 9 catches. Hopkins has 10. Like, they literally can't throw the fucking ball. So they're just riding Pollard. That's their only thing they have right now. And at $6K for the only thing someone has against potentially the worst defense in the league, he is in that range of that's good chalk. and you got to be a part of that chalk, or else you're going to get screwed like I did with Kraft last week.
So we just saw Tank Bigsby and ETN light these guys up on the ground last week. So
the one guy I got to ask you guys about. This is the cheapest I've ever seen, for good reason, because they're just not giving him the ball. Is Bijan, and if there was ever a week, now he's going to be chalky.
Okay, so then
he's right up there with Pollard, right? So, but I think that there's very few people this week that are going to play Bijan and Pollard together. And you can play Bijan and Pollard together if you're going to play Rattler, right?
Yes.
Or somebody super low owned like that. I think that if you want to play Bijan and you want to play Pollard, you got to play them together in probably 30% of lineups to be equal to the field. And I would literally play them together in every single lineup that I'm going to play, because not enough people are going to do that, I don't think. And if there was a week, right, for him to ever do it and to have one of those spike games, it's going to be this week against Carolina.
My answer on it is I will probably have some of him in non-chalky lineups. So I'm going to be under the field for sure, but it's going to be in in my contrarian lineups, like you said, the Rattler lineups or my Baker lineups or whatever. Yeah. But I don't love it, man. There's something either wrong with him or he's doing something that this is the second coaching staff that is just not using this guy for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. I think he's insanely talented, but this is the second coaching staff in a row that's giving him no, he's going to get 9 to 10 touches a game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we think we all want it to happen. I think he's a stud, but I think everyone just might be wrong. I don't know if he's not picking up the playbook, if he can't pick up pass protections.
No, I think
he's not hitting the right holes. I don't know what's
teams
going on.
I think teams are stacking the box against Kirk right now. They're making them prove it, right? He's throwing the ball out to the edge to Mooney. They're going deep. They're starting to spread the ball around. At some point, defenses are going to have to start letting off a little bit and going against the pass game, and it's going to open up that run game for Bijan. We're still going to get those 3 spike games from Bijan this year. And
that's
again, the matchup
you just gotta.
That might be an interesting stack, though, Jim. You always like going running back, go Kirk, Bijan, and Drake if he's in. Or
I already have
whatever.
Mooney. Mooney has been my big play guy.
Yeah, I already have a lineup like that, Vinny.
Because that's at least going to get you off. No one's going to play Bijan with Kirk.
I think honestly, the way that Bijan gets there is off of passing. Right.
Yeah.
So screen game, Kirk hits him on a big wheel route or something like that, because he is just such a wild mismatch, right? So I think that's probably the preferred way to play him, because I think that, in my opinion, if he gets there to the 25, 30-point game, it's going to be through the air. He's got to have to do some of it through the air.
Or because he's not going to nukes him.
Yeah,
and they all.
But even then, if they nuke them, they're probably just going to give Algier a bunch of touches, right? If they get up big, they're just going to run the ball with Algier. So
I don't know, man. It's just not there. It's just for me, it's one of those things. 30% guy who hasn't done it. It's just now you're just hoping for something that's not. There's no proof in the pudding. So
one interesting play in a very chalky game where this person's not going to get chalk is Austin Eckler. He looks good. And when he has the ball in his hands, he's just not playing all that much, but he's still averaging about 12 fantasy points a game. If the game flow goes the way that I want it to, and that's the Ravens getting up early, that means Eckler's going to be in the game a hell of a lot more than Robinson this week. And he's going to catch a lot of passes, a lot of dump offs. And again, Eckler looks good. He looks like he did 2 years ago.
He was the main running back last week. They just put Robinson in on the. Robinson had 2 touchdowns, but he only had 15 points.
He only had 8 carries or something like that.
He had 4 carries.
Yeah. And I'm not looking at Eckler getting a bunch of carries, right? He has 19 carries in 4 games, right? Eckler's not going to get a ton of carries, but he has 11 catches for 151 yards.
Yeah.
The only problem is that
he's going to get catches, and again, it's more of a value play, and you can get against the chalk in a chalky game.
The only challenge is Jerry McNichols is being used
a
fair amount. It's a 3-headed monster there. So
someone to Tanya Harding him.
But it's the
Well,
same.
come on, man.
It's the same thing as like we talked about. Like we all want Javonte to get there. It's like they use 3 guys. Like they just don't use them. It's so I just can't go like hard on them. But that's all I got.
I got nobody really cheap.
Nah, I'm gonna hang in the mid range mostly this week. I think.
I'm paying up for running back. So wide receiver then. I already kind of talked. CD is my guy. If we're going up top, who are you guys going to? Who are you guys going to? If it's not
Joe.
CD,
I'll let you go. Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
I love Mike Evans. Guys, we all know Mike Evans. Confirming, is Lattimore playing this week?
I'm going to look it up right now.
I feel like he's every other week he plays.
3%.
Dude,
Mike Evans is going to be 3% up.
Dude, Evans.
If Lattimore's in, you can't play Evans.
No, I'm the opposite.
I don't care.
I think
they've been ejected together like 4 times.
Exactly.
They just fight. They just fist.
Whatever.
Exactly. So it's awesome. Like I'm in. Like that is gonna be such a competitive battle throughout the entire game. And Evans is gonna go to Baker and just throw me the fucking ball in the end zone. Like I'm gonna go get it. Like it's gonna be an all-out war between those 2 guys. I love it.
I love Mike Evans, but I'm telling you right now, if Lattimore's in, I'm playing just Godwin. I'm not gonna do it. Like they just don't look on
don't be a pussy. Just fucking play him.
All right, you guys
be 3% owned.
Because they're going to probably get ejected in the first quarter with one another.
Okay. But you can't bank on that.
All right.
No.
I do like the call, though, Joe.
Do you guys like Stephon Diggs with no Nico Collins, or does that make the play worse for you?
I honestly don't.
Same here.
I would rather just play Tank Dell.
And dude, Christian Gonzalez is sick. Corner for the Patriots. He is sick. Like I think Stephon Diggs, I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to go to him this week because Nico's out, and I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to be diminishing returns.
I think give me all the Tank Dell for $1,200 cheaper. He's now healthy. You know, he came back last week, had a decent game when Nico went out. I mean, it's going to be the Tank Dell show again. And like you said, Christian Gonzalez is fucking legit. And he is so damn good. So like I am just gonna play. I'd hate that they priced him up because of the early news with Nico going out. So like I don't like playing Stroud a whole bunch this week, but I'm definitely going to be playing a lot of Tank Dell as a one-off, especially at 8% owned.
Yeah,
like it.
We kind of skipped over one guy, but like my favorite up here, I'm going to continue just playing Jaden Reed. Like that guy is just a monster, and Green Bay, like that's Jordan Love's favorite target.
Stacks, man.
Well, we love that stack. We like that game environment. Like I love Reed this week. So moving on down.
Mid range, Olave 1%. Just play him. You don't have to play him with Rattler, but he's literally going to be 1% owned, maybe less, because of Rattler. Drake London's going to be getting like 20% ownership. Terry's going to be 20%, so he's getting squeezed right in between there. Play him at 1%, and you'll be happy. I promise.
Yeah, I dig that. Any interest in George Pickens, who they said are limiting his snaps because like they want him to be more efficient? Like Mike Tomlin does some weird stuff, dude.
It's the same bullshit coach speak that everybody fucking fell for with the Ramondre thing last week. He is your absolute best dynamic wide receiver. And at the end of the day, I don't care if Mike Tomlin likes him or if he doesn't. They're in the business of trying to win football games.
Well, they just after coming off of a loss, like they need to win this game.
They're playing in Vegas, inside, in an optimal game environment. Vegas's defense is not very good, right? Justin Fields, I don't really want to play Justin Fields. I'm more interested in just playing Pickens as a one-off and going from there. And, I'll let the chips fall where they may. But he's too explosive of a player in an offense that really it's him, and that's it, right? They got fucking Van Jefferson who can barely catch the ball. Calvin Austin. Freiermuth is fine, right? But we're talking about the explosive play guy. It's Pickens. He's way too cheap. He's way too cheap.
And look, staying on explosive and staying right in the same price range. I like Jameson Williams. We talk about this all the time with Dallas, right? They like to just jump passes and try to make these big plays. And again, Dallas's defense is awful. Jameson Williams only needs to get like 2 catches, and he'll go for like 120 and a touchdown, and we're flying high. So talking about grabbing a guy that's explosive in a great environment, Jameson Williams could be the guy this week that nukes.
I'm right there with you guys on both of those pick-ins and Jameson calls. And then if we go down just a little bit, I really like Darnell Mooney here. Drake London's banged up, obviously. He's probably going to play, but even if he does, like
he's got no questionable tag. Mooney has the questionable tag.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, Mooney is good, man. Like I think everyone fell off of Mooney. Look, Luke Getsy.
He may have cost me a showdown last week, but I'm still back on him.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But look, Luke Getsy with the Bears ruined Mooney. Prior to Luke Getsy, Mooney was making huge plays for the Bears consistently. And all of a sudden, he's making huge plays again. And it's like, he's a good player. And Kirk Cousins is going to get him the ball.
Totally.
Yeah.
I really like Mooney. I picked him up in like all my year-long fantasy leagues, and he's like starting for me now, and nobody drafted him. And he's doing very well.
You guys, I sent you guys my exposure to him in best ball, right? Across 130 teams, he's my 3rd highest drafted receiver because he was going in like the 12th or 13th round, and I couldn't figure out why, because he is obviously going to be the second option on that team, right? So like I don't get it, right? He's not garnering enough ownership. He's 12% owned. He's only 5,300. Like those are all the things that we're looking for in guys, right? So like I'm all about Mooney again this week.
Where are we going for value this week? Because it gets ugly fast. Like there's a few guys in the 4K, but I don't like. There's not much anywhere below that.
I mean, for the Raiders, I'm going right back to Trey Tucker.
Yeah,
he's 4,200. He's an explosive player. Yeah. They're starting O'Connell this week. I don't think that there's a whole lot of difference between O'Connell and Minshew. No. It's kind of just like the same guy.
No, but I'll tell you what the difference is. And they're going to get the ball out quick with Aiden O'Connell, where Minshew, he's trying to like make plays all the time like he's some fucking superhero. And look, Aiden O'Connell, it's going to be a 3-step drop slant. It's going to be a smoke route. It's going to be little buck routes. They're going to get Trey Tucker the ball quick on the outside and just let him be in the open field. And this is where Trey Tucker is going to excel. And he might get you that one deep ball, right? But I think Trey Tucker lines up much better with Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. And look, they're not doing 5-step drops and letting Aiden O'Connell sit back there because TJ Watt will get like 6 sacks this game by himself because Aiden O'Connell can't fucking move. So it's going to be 3-step drops, get the ball to Tucker, and that's that.
Do you guys think Minshew got benched for picking his nose and eating it on camera on Sunday?
I think there's a 1% chance that's the reason why, but 99% he's been playing like dog shit. So
I like it. Yes, I'm with you on Trey Tucker. Joe, do you like anyone down here? Oh, sorry.
If Joe Flacco plays for the Colts, I like Adonai Mitchell. Michael Pittman is out, meaning Mitchell will be on the field almost every single play. Now, if Richardson plays, absolutely not, because the guy can't hit the backside of a barn. But Flacco plays, I'm putting Mitchell in.
Yeah, man, it's tough because Downs and Pierce are obviously going to eat it up. But, yeah, Mitchell's going to be very much in play. They just have not quite gone to him. But I liked him at the start of the season.
Ever since Downs came back, right, he just hasn't been on the field. Now that Pittman's out, Mitchell will be back on the field 100%.
Yeah.
I've got some interest going down. There's 2 guys down here. It's Xavier Hutchinson. He was getting the bulk of the run he was the plug-in for Nico Collins at the X.
Yeah.
Tank Dell runs mostly out of the slot. But for 3,300 for a guy that's going to be on the field for 90% of the pass routes, I think that you've got to take some shots for him. I don't even care. He's going to get a little bit of ownership. I see like 3%. That's not enough to scare me away. And then the other guy I think is Jalen Polk. You're starting to see him get targeted a little bit more. They're starting to move away from Demario Douglas a little bit and trying to focus a little bit more on Jalen Polk. And I think that, he's a rookie. The rookies usually work out together in the offseason. They're spending more time. after practice. I was reading a little bit today. He's been one of the couple of guys that's been staying and practicing with May quite a bit. So I think that Polk at 3,600, if you need to go down here, I think he's just like Xavier Hutchinson, he's going to be on the field a lot. He's going to be running a lot of routes. So I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I like that. Oh. That's all I got down here. Tight ends.
Tight ends.
Well, if Aiden O'Connell's going to be getting the ball out quick, I think Brock Bowers seems to be a pretty good play this week. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't understand why he's so low owned.
I think the worry, right? Michael Mayer is still out for personal reasons, whatever that means. And again, they're going to have to keep tight ends in to protect Aiden O'Connell, unfortunately. I'm just a little bit scared that Bowers is going to be that inline tight end, and he's not going to just be a huge part of the pass game. I don't know. I think he's
low owned to begin with, though, just because there's not value on the slate. Like, people are just going to take the cheap tight end this week.
I guess, but people aren't even really doing that, Vinny. I mean, everyone's basically flocking to one person. Yeah. Jake Ferguson at 30% owned.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, like I get it, right? Like I understand why, but there's so many other guys that you could go to. You've got Bowers, you've got McBride if you like that game.
I'll just keep playing Tucker Kraft right below him.
3% owned this week.
Okay, so that makes no sense.
Down to 3%.
Yeah. Yes, I don't understand why.
I don't understand. I thought he was going to be super chalk.
I thought he was going to be too, and maybe he ends up. I'm going to guess that some of this ownership that's on Ferguson is going to gravitate toward Tucker Kraft and maybe a little bit towards Dallas Goedert. But right now, there's no way you can play Jake Ferguson at 30% owned. That's just a no thank you for me.
Yeah.
No.
He's too expensive. Tucker Kraft was 3,400 last week, and that's why he was super chalk. But Jake Ferguson's $5,000. Like, no thanks, man.
Yeah. Do you guys think Sam Laporta turns it around here? They get him involved in the offense at a certain point, or is this not going to happen?
I think
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
I just think that Jameson Williams being more involved in the offense this year, they just haven't really had to pepper him and use him a whole lot, right? Now, I think it's a decent week to use Sam Laporta because he's kind of falling into like what Kittle was. Kittle's been pretty consistent this year, but the last couple of years, Kittle will just have those spike games where he's got 2 or 3 touchdowns in a game, and then he'll do nothing for weeks on end. I think that's kind of what Sam Laporta has fallen into. And, if you're going to take away some of these other options in the red zone, right, they like to run the ball a lot in the red zone. I think that it might be a decent dart throw this week because he's certainly going to be out there. I just don't know how much he's going to be involved or needs to be involved for them. Right. I think that's the only worry is that, but tight end this year has been a dumpster fire anyway. So if he gets you 6 points, he gets you 6 points, but he's one of the tight ends on the slate that has that 25, 30-point upside. If he catches a couple of touchdowns, he was hurt earlier in the year, right? I think he's probably back healthy a little bit now. He's coming off of a bye from last week. I think it's a decent spot to go to. I'm not going to have a ton of Laporta this week, but I'm definitely going to be playing him, Joe.
The reason that I'm thinking that it's interesting, it always happens this way when the chalk tight end, like for example, Ferguson's going to be in the game, just play the other tight end. And that guy always is the one who catches 2 touchdowns, and everyone's sitting there all tilted on Sunday afternoon watching.
Yeah, and and Laporta's been burning people all year, and no one's going to own him, and then he's going to spike. It's going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah. It's an interesting dart throw for sure.
I like it.
Down low, anyone?
Pat Freiermuth is probably my favorite tight end. For years and years and years, you just play tight ends versus the Raiders, and especially on a very condensed offense where it just doesn't have a lot of receiving options. At 4,300, I don't know how you don't get a fair amount of Freiermuth into your lineups this week.
Yeah, and then the only other guy below that I have interest in that I'll plug into some lineups is Joe. You mentioned him, Cade Otton. I know he's not amazing, but for 3,500, like he's averaging in 6, 7, 8 DraftKings points a week, which right now is right there with Laporta and all these guys that you're going to pay up for. So like, I'll just take the cost savings and just take my 7 points and like move on. Right. So below that though, man, it gets ugly. Did we all light a candle for Greg Dulcich as the healthy scratch on Sunday? I think it's over, boys.
Vinny,
we could have told you that 3 years ago, buddy.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's never going to happen.
So bad.
I mean, Dancing Rick is just he's.
I saw the inactive come out, and I was like, "Oh!" Like I didn't have any of them, but it was like, "Damn it!"
Fucking Dancing Rick. God damn.
Anyways,
one more guy is Hunter Henry. You got Drake May, rookie quarterback. Like Jim, you said, they're just going to pound the rock. Hunter Henry can definitely have some big time, like red zone goal line play this week for the rookie quarterback.
If you're looking for a very cheap option this week,
that's a good call, Joe.
He started getting some actual targets and more playing time. I think he's starting to learn the offense a little bit more, but it's Jatavian Sanders. And if that game does turn into a shootout at 2,600 and you're going to put that into a stack and you're trying to save some money, I would perfectly okay with taking a stab at Jatavian Sanders this week. This guy's a big-time playmaker. He's a hell of an athlete. Finally got involved a little bit more in the offense last week. At 2,600, I don't know. I would much rather take a shot on him than like some of these other guys who are, he's priced way, way, way below for some odd reason, even though he's going to be the one. He's it. He's a starter in Carolina this week. So I think that you got to try to find a way to get him into some of your lineups. And since I like the Atlanta side of things, it's going to be an easy run back for me on that.
All right. Yeah, I like that call. Defense that is cheap. Where are you boys looking? By the way, Jim, we nailed that Patriots call last week, huh?
Yeah. Patriots, it was just easy. Patriots, I ended up having to play the Giants, which ended up working out really well.
It worked out well.
Who's our highest on defense?
Yeah, is there anyone getting massive chalk here?
I love getting the leverage against a chalky defense.
So the Bucks and Saints are the two highest on defenses, which is kind of strange in the same game.
I'm stacking the fuck out of that game.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I mean, it's not like the highest total, but it's also not the lowest total. I just don't know what everyone like. I get maybe why the Bucks are because you got a rookie quarterback, but like, okay, like
but the Bucks defense
making his first start, it's just not that good. You saw Kirk throw for fucking 500 yards, their last outing. So like, what are they going to do now, right? So yeah, those are the two highest owned, and then it's the Ravens at 11%, and then nothing above 10% from there.
Okay, so like I have two defenses. I feel like I'm only going to run these two defenses, and I'm just going to go back and forth in every single lineup, and it's either the Chargers or the Broncos. I have a good feeling this game is going to be like 14-10, 17-13. Like this game is. Like, I don't think either team scores 20 points in this game.
Yeah, but that's not really a path to getting you good defensive points, Joe.
Yeah, but I like the Chargers side, right? Going against Bo Nix, that is definitely turnover prone. If they have to lean on him, he is turnover prone. There's a defensive touchdown in this game, right?
Okay. If you think that, okay. Vinny, who do you got?
I can see it. My two that I'm rolling with are going to be sub 3, and I'm going with Tennessee at home. Versus Mr. Anthony Richardson, who just twice a game at least just like hands the ball to the other team.
Phony Tony, baby.
And then I'm playing Detroit. We know Dak might get there and do his thing, and CD could do his thing, but like I have zero doubt that they're going to get multiple sacks here, and very possible that Dak throws multiple picks in this one. Like if he's under pressure and he's just getting rocked, like we've seen it before. And it would be very Dallas-like, not to like, again, just put down like your stack of like CD and Dak, Jim, but like Dallas gets a big win. Jura is out there, cheering in the box on like Monday Night Football, like all jacked up, and then they come out and just like lay an egg at home and get booed off the field. Like that's like how I envision this game going. So
they could
get there, but I think Detroit's defense is live against Dak.
I'm playing the Patriots.
Yeah, that's not a bad. I mean,
they're at home. They have a good defense. Without Nico Collins in that offense for the Texans, that offense does not look good. I mean,
and Mixon.
Then you take Mixon out as well.
The boom factor goes away. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, you've got Tank Dell. I just don't see the type of style that the Patriots play. They're just going to kind of grind that out. And then if they get 1 or 2 interceptions, I mean, they turn the ball over, right? You've got Cam Akers and Dario Gumbawale running the ball for the Texans, both guys who are fumble prone, right, to giving up the ball. They're the cheapest at $2,400, and we're going to go back to on a week. Everyone played the value defenses last week. Now everyone's playing. They were going to play a little more. They're concentrating toward that game. I'm just going to play the cheap defense and the Patriots, who are severe underdogs at home, with the second lowest total on the slate, and go from there.
Like it. All right. Who wants to start with favorite stack and bold call of the week?
I'll go with my favorite stack. God, it's in between two. I'm gonna go with the Kirk Bijan in London. That's gonna be my favorite stack. I just like the run back options a lot in that game. You can do Chuba is going to be in every single one of those lineups, and then you can pick between, whatever Carolina Panther receiver if you want to add somebody else, or if you want to get cheap, you can go to Jatavian Sanders at 2,600.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bold call.
My bold call. Oh, man, I've got a few in mind, but I won't take Joey's. So I'll go with the 1% Chris Olave going for 20 plus.
That's a nice call.
There you go.
Joseph.
All right. Well, my stack of the week is going to be right in that game. It's going to be the Bucks. It's going to be Baker. It's going to be possibly Godwin and Evans, and then flip on the other side with Olave.
I think you got to do both.
Yeah, you just play both of those receivers with Olave on the other side of it. Again, you get the leverage against the field with the two highest owned defenses. I think this game, it's game nukes. So that's my favorite stuff.
I'm still so confused why everyone's playing those two defenses that much. I just don't get it.
Bold call, Joe.
All right, just because this conversation went deeper earlier, I think Mike Evans goes for over 100 and gets 2 touchdowns.
So 30 plus?
30 plus.
I sent you guys also the fight montage between Lattimore and Evans because there's multiple instances.
It's like my favorite thing to watch. It's like my favorite thing to watch this week. I'm tuning in just for that.
I'm gonna play it, but I'm gonna be so pissed at you in like 10 minutes left in the second when they just throw haymakers and they're both ejected. So.
Well, that's why you got to play this. So to your point, Vinny, that's why you have to play the stack with Evans and Godwin. Because let's say Evans gets an early touchdown and he gets like 13 points and gets ejected, everything is just going to go to Godwin and he's going to nuke.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
all right.
That's why you got to do it.
All right. I am going, since Joe took Baker off the board, I am going to go Jordan Love in the Packers here. Like them in the spot versus Arizona. Jordan Love, I am going with Jaden Reed. And I think those two can absolutely rock the house here. Also, don't forget about Squeaky Wheel gets the grease with Romeo Dubes after his recent suspension and being unhappy. Like, he's back at practice. Like, I could see him getting in the box here too, just to like really make things.
I don't know what the fuck his problem. He's leading the team in targets.
He plays every play, and he's like mad about there's like involvement in the offense. It's like, what are you talking about?
I have no idea. Like,
your quarterback snapped his leg almost in the first game and had to miss 2, and like
you had to play with you had to play with the poor man's version of Colin Kaepernick, Malik Willis, who can do nothing but run the ball. And it's just like
ridiculous. Anyways, so yeah, Packers I'll roll with is my favorite stack, and I'm gonna make a bold proclamation of two guys we talked about here. I think Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams pop off, each of them for a 50-yard touchdown.
Hey,
whoa! So then you got to play golf.
I know. I'm gonna have to play
golf. Golf's definitely in my quarterback pool.
So why don't you play real quick, just to kind of like wrap things up here? Why don't you just play Goff instead of Dak, and then just bring it back with CD?
I'm going to play both.
Okay. All right.
You got to have both sides of it, right?
I think it's so Dak is. I think I'll double check the stats this week, but I think Dak is yet to run for a touchdown this year, and it's something he has like 3 or 4 of every single year. If you're looking for like a little fun prop bet on Sunday, Dak anytime touchdown, it's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood. Quarterbacks are usually like 4 or 5 to 1. It's usually pretty good pricing on it. I think that's definitely one that you can, if you're just looking to put in a single prop bet, 4.5, 5 to 1 on Dak to score a rushing touchdown is. You should follow that one this weekend.
I like it.
All right, boys. That wraps things up. Good luck this week.